The Choiseul Province is one of the 9 provinces in Solomon Islands. It lies southeast of Bougainville, part of Papua New Guinea, west of Santa Isabel and north of Vella la Vella, Kolombangra and Amp, New Georgia. In the 2009 national census, its population is 26,372. The province consists of 3 major islands, which are Choiseul, Vaghena, and Rob Roy. Choiseul Island, which is commonly known as Loru to the natives, has land area of 3,294 square kilometers, Vaghena at 243 square kilometers, and Rob Roy at 200 square kilometers. Taro Island at 1.5 square kilometers is the capital of the province. History, discovery and naming. When the natives first arrived and discovered the Big Island, they called it Loru. Then, in 1568, the Spanish explorer Alvaro de Mendana rediscovered the island and named it San Marcos. Mendana himself never set foot on Loru. He called it San Marcos because he saw the island from Santa Isabel on the day of St. Mark. 200 years later, in 1768, the French explorer Louis-Antoine de Bougainville saw the island again and named it Choiseul after the Minister of Foreign Affairs and statesman, Choiseul. Today, the 2 most common names for the island are Choiseul and Loru. San Marcos is not commonly used at this present day. Colonial Era. Choiseul Province was initially not part of the British Solomon Islands. Like Bougainville, Santa Isabel, and Onton Islands, it has been part of the German New Guinea colony in 1884. 15 years later, in 1899, Germany ceded Choiseul, Isabel and Onton Java to the British to become part of the British Solomon Islands. In 1900, Charles Woodford, the resident commissioner for the Solomon Islands, sailed to Choiseul via Isabel on a ship named Torch and planted the British flag on Choiseul on the 23rd of August 1900. Proclaiming Choiseul as part of the British Solomon. During World War II, northwest Choiseul, along the Nukiki-Tavosa corridor, was partly occupied by Japanese military forces whose garrison was raided by U.S. Marine forces in October and November 1943. The Protectorate sets up the Choiseul Council in 1948. The council consists of representatives of the 7 sub-districts in Choiseul. The council meets twice a year with the district commissioner to discuss its business. Independent Era. On the 25th of February 1992, a separate Choiseul Province was created by separation from the Western Province. It has had the following premiers: 1992–96 Clement Kengava, 1996 to 2000 Semi Vazarabatu, 2000 Jackson Kilo. Members to the National Parliament. There are 3 constituencies in Choiseul. Northeast Choiseul, late Dr. Gideon Zolavaki, late Hon. Alan Caruso, Hon. Manasseh Sogavare. Northwest Choiseul, Hon. Alpha Kimita, Hon. Clement Kengava, Hon. Connolly Sadakabatu. South Choiseul, Hon. Jason Dorofolomo, Hon. Rev. Caleb Kitali, Hon. Rev. Leslie Bossato, Hon. Elijah Doro Muala. Health. The Choiseul Provincial Health Service has 26 health facilities around the province. The main referral provincial hospital is the Taro Hospital. The hospital is based on the Taro Island, which is also the island capital of the province. It is the first certified baby-friendly hospital in the Solomon Islands in October 2010, and awarded the Shield by UNICEF and WHO. The award means that Taro Hospital advocates for exclusive breastfeeding for babies up to 6 months before introduction of soft diet. The hospital also does not encourage artificial and bottle feeding of babies. It also has links to community groups that support, protect and promote the practice of exclusive breastfeeding of babies within Taro Hospital catchment area. area. The Choiseul Provincial Health Service is also very active in health promotion and education targeting the rural population. It pays emphasis on preventative activities down to the rural areas with the help of community groups, churches and donor partners. Taro Hospital offers the following primary health programs: reproductive health on antenatal and postnatal care, child health on immunization, nutrition and breastfeeding practices, non-communicable disease, mental health services and malaria program. Telecommunications. Solomon Telecom Company Limited is the sole provider of both landline and mobile phone communication in the province. Telecom's office is in Taro. Landline phone communication can only be found on Taro Island. However, Telecom also covers the island with mobile phone towers. Currently, its mobile phone towers are in Palmo Village, Kagaloga, Sasamuka and Vaghena. In June 2014, our Telecom added 2 new mobile towers, one on Roper Island in South Choiseul and the second at Offa Village, northwest Choiseul. Two-way VHF radio can also be found in the villages, churches, schools and clinics. Religion. The first missionaries that came to Choiseul were the Methodists. The first attempt by the Methodist ministers led by Rev. John Goldie was made in 1904, but was unsuccessful. In 1905, a second attempt was made by Rev. Stephen Rabone Rooney, this time on the south of Choiseul at Sasamuka, which was successful, leading to the first mission established in Sasamuka village in 1905. The missionaries were instrumental in the introduction of education and health to the population. The 3 denominations involved in missionary work in Choiseul were the Methodists, Catholics and the Seventh-day Adventists. Culture. People. The people consists of several Melanesian tribes, including the Gilberties who live on Vaghena. In the 19th century, head hunting and blackbirding were widespread in the Solomon Islands. This led to the extinction of the people on Vaghena in the 1870s. Even in the 20th century, the Choiseul Islanders were ill-reputed as brutal cannibals, so that visitors only came with armed forces to that island. In 1916, there were brutal feuds between the several tribes which were ended by the Peace Treaty of Sasamungra on 8 August 1921. This event, called Kulabule, is a holiday on Choiseul. Music. Traditionally, people in Choiseul use bamboos for traditional flutes. Now these traditional music is only performed in custom ceremonies. One of the string bands from Choiseul was the Siravama Boys, the best-known song being Seni Memory. Another group from Choiseul in the early 2000s was the band Savoto. The hit songs include Inakamak and K-Zero. Football. The inhabitants of Choiseul are soccer enthusiasts. They have a team called Loruku Vojo, which in 2005 took part at the Solomon Cup, the national football championship of the Solomon Islands. They have finished the participation already in the preliminary round. In November 2012, the biannual Kuvojo Cup was held with a team representing the provincial capital Taro winning against a team from Senga Ward. Most of the 14 wards throughout Choiseul sent representative teams to participate at the Kuvojo Cup tournament in both soccer and netball. Flora and fauna. The flora and fauna are both characteristic of Australia and New Guinea. The biggest mammal is the endangered dugong, a siko which occurs in the waters near Robroy and Taro Island. The largest reptile is the saltwater crocodile known from Australia. Known birds are the Sanford's fisheagle, the Pacific black duck, and the eastern reef egret. Until the beginning of the 20th century, it was the only habitat of the now extinct Choiseul crested pigeon. Choiseul is also an important breeding place for the loggerhead sea turtle. The flora is represented by mangroves and coconuts. Environmental issues. Commercial logging continues to operate in Choiseul throughout the entire province. Nickel mining is planned to commence in 2016 in Katupika and will see over 2,000 hectares cleared to gain access to nickel deposits over the life of the mining operation. Prospecting for gold has also occurred close to Suska in North Choiseul. A proposal to establish over 4,000 hectares in North Choiseul as oil palm plantation will also have significant environmental impact. Islands: Bembalama, Choiseul, Cyprian Bridge, Kafau, La Reina, Nuatambu, Rob Roy, Serema, Taro, Vaghena. Major developments in modern-day Choiseul. Logging in Choiseul. Egon Resource Company Limited is the first logging company to operate in Choiseul when it landed in Moli in 1989. The 25th of June 2010 MV San Marcos, the second ship of Loru Shipping, is commissioned in Taro. San Marcos is a cargo boat of 35-meter, 340-ton, 250 cubic meters loading capacity and can travel at 10 knots. The vessel was bought from Japan for SB $3.7 million with funds from the national government SB $1 million, Taiwan government SB $1 million, Loru Shipping Company SB $1.6 million and South Choiseul constituency SB $100,000. Taro Township. The Choiseul Township Project Office was established in 2008, a short-term land consultant that has been engaged since 2009 who facilitated the process of acquiring the perpetual estate, parcel 015002, which was purchased under the sales and purchase agreement. Then on the 21st of December 2011 in the village of Poro Poro, the Minister of Provincial Government and Institutional Strengthening, Hon. Walter Folatalu, presided over the signing ceremony of the procurement of perpetual estate to the provincial government. On that day, the minister handed over a check of $4 million as part payment of the purchase price of $10,040,000 for a piece of land. The payment was made to the landowners in the mainland. First generator house for Taro was built in 2011. It is a diesel generator. It was brought in time to provide lights for the first Premier's Conference to be held in Choiseul later that year. Airport upgrade and terminal. Taro Airport was upgraded in 2011 with its first terminal in 2011. It was also fenced all around as well. The terminal building was funded by PGSP. New Provincial Assembly Hall was built and completed in 2011 with support from the PGSP funding. It was built purposely in time to accommodate the Premier's Conference in Taro. Taro New Concrete Wharf was built in 2011 to replace the old wooden wharf. New Computer Lab for Choiseul Bay Provincial Secondary School was built in 2012. The only provincial secondary school in the province. In April 2013, the first EFTOS machine was installed by Westpac Bank in the capital Taro as an in-store service. Launching the service is Hon. Elijah Dora Muala, the parliament member for South Choiseul. During the Choiseul provincial election that was held in October 2013, history was made when 4 women candidates compete in the election. This is the first time women are competing at the provincial level since Choiseul became a province. All 4, however, do not manage to win a seat in the 14 seats of the provincial assembly. In 2014 financial year, the province's annual budget is $15,004,189, of which $5,729,704 is recurrent expenditure and $9,274,485 is capital expenditure.